Belina me ke aloha o Puaokamele D he po o Kālele o Kamamaluula News Wau. Aloha, I'm Kaci, co-founder of Kamamaluula News, and the aspect of Ea, or sovereignty, that I am discussing today is the simple fact that we already have it. Our Ea has never been abrogated nor relinquished. It still remains vested within each and every one of us, even today. And this fact is recognized formally by the United States itself. In one place that it's recognized is in U.S. Public Law 103-150, also known as the Apology Resolution of '93, wherein the U.S. recognizes our sovereignty as inherent. The only thing is that the U.S. only specifically recognizes the Ea of Na Kanaka Maoli, or who they call Native Hawaiians. They do not explicitly recognize the Ea of the non-Kanaka Maoli descendants. But that just further illustrates that the U.S. was not only founded on racist practices, but they continue to operate on racist exclusionary practices even today. So, what does Ea mean? It means that there is no higher authority than us or the entity that we choose to vest our Ea in. So there is no country of a higher authority. There's not the US, not the United Nations. The only power that exists higher, the only authority higher would be Na Akua or Ko Akua. That's the gods or your God. That's the only power. So that's very, very different from the widespread belief that the narrative that's been pushed for the last 125 years, which is that Hawaii was stolen and that the Hawaiian kingdom was overthrown. And because that belief leaves us in the position where we're feeling like we need to beg or convince or wait for the United States to do pono by us. That is a position of despair, especially in the knowledge of the United States' history and the fact that they have never been pono to peoples like us, peoples who they label as indigenous peoples, which is their kind way of saying savage, uncivilized people who are incapable of self-governance. Never been pono. But that is not the situation that we're in, because what U.S. public law, the one I referred to earlier, the Apology Resolution, what that is saying is that the U.S. itself recognizes that there is no authority higher than us, not even itself. So they're telling us that they acknowledge that not even they have the right of governing us. Okay? So it simplifies things for me, because now the question is, now that you know you have this Ea, what do you choose to do with it? For me, it's three very simple things. One, to retain it. So that means to thwart or work against efforts like the Department of Interior, where they are trying to get us to vest our Ea underneath the U.S. formally, so that we now formally will be underneath or at the whim of what the United States says that how we can practice our Ea. So one, retain it. Two is to educate other Hawaiian nationals about their Ea, to work against the narrative of the past 125 years, to let Hawaiian nationals understand that they now have a choice. And the choice comes from what is called the strange form of occupation that we find ourselves in today, the military occupation by the United States, is that now Hawaiian nationals have the choice whether they would like to vest their Ea in the United States or in the Hawaiian Kingdom or in some other vehicle. So they have the choice whether they would like to be American citizens, Hawaiian nationals, or maybe some other type of state of being. And that's a choice for each and every one of us to make for ourselves, right? With the proper tools and proper education. The third way that I choose to use my Ea is to use it and practice it and exercise it daily. the way that I do that is first on an individual level is by making it a part of my identity, right? To say, aloha, I'm Kaci, I'm a Hawaiian national. The place that I'm actually speaking to you from is Mokuhonu. It's Turtle Island, in what the US recognizes as Oregon today in the United States. That means I'm in a foreign country because my country is in Hawaii. That's the country I belong to. And to elaborate on that, it means, like, what holidays do we celebrate? For example, Hoihoi Ea. Are we celebrating Hoihoi Ea? Is that part of our national identity? Or are we celebrating things like the 4th of July? Where in the US, it recognizes white European Americans' liberation from British rule. So are we celebrating that, or are we celebrating things like Hoihoi Ea, which recognizes Hawaiian nationals' liberation from an attempt of British rule? See, so it starts at small things, small individual choices like that, and then larger, it's to ask, what does a free Hawaii look like? One that is not under a military occupation by the United States. One simple thing is that I see it to be a self-sustainable. So that means to support the endeavors of the Hawaiian nationals working to make that happen. Supporting the farmers, supporting the small business owners. Ways that Hawaii is becoming self-sustainable today. Yeah, that's something that we do a lot with Kamamaluula News, is we focus on people who are practicing Ea today. The fact is, a free, independent Hawaii from military rule is within our power. So it starts with individual choices, and then with the knowledge, as the knowledge spreads to more Hawaiian nationals and they choose to also practice it individually, then we can practice it collectively and act as a nation, a sovereign nation. And it's totally within our power to do so. Our Na'ali'i and Nakupuna, they left us with the pathways to restore our government on our own. That's in our constitutions and our laws. So all it needs is the support, and that's where I'd like to leave this message, that understand that you have Ea, and what do you choose to do with it? Use it as much as possible. This has been Kaci, co-founder of Kamamaluula News. Aloha.